back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to a live Manchester United news, transfer news and update show. Reports coming out from credible sources that United very much looking to move for Victor Gyokeres. They're already making steps ahead of accelerating a Victor Gyokeres deal. We're going to talk about that. Manchester United could be leading the race right now for Victor Gyokeres. They're the only major club that have made concrete steps to sign him. And we know that Manchester United want Cunha and one more signing in the next week or two. But is it massively going to depend on what happens tomorrow night? We're going to talk about the Europa League. Apparently no Maddison and Bergvall, and just confirmed. Is it mind games though? Yoro back, Xerxes back, the low back, no Delict. What's the team news? Could Hojlund be dropped? Could Mbeumo be up top? Could Xerxes start? I think Xerxes will be on the bench. We're going to talk about the team news and everything. There's also links to people like Emi Martinez. I don't know if he would leave Villa for us. I'm still unsure, but there is quite a few links in terms of Emi Martinez, the goalkeeper situation, and all of that. But the big news is coming in from Tanzalik, which is a really good source of information, in my opinion, by the way. And he is saying United are pretty much going to make their move for Victor Gyokeres. I know we're making moves for Delap, but both Delap and Victor Gyokeres want European football. And if you get European football, you're going to choose Victor Gyokeres over Delap. You know, Delap's got a lot of options. Gyokeres got a lot of options. Who knows if they'll choose us? But big news coming in there. Eze news and Mbeumo updates, Delap updates, Alvaro updates, Wharton interest. We're going to get into the news. I'm just going to grab my water quickly, but let me know in the chat. Do you want me to start with the Gyokeres news, or do you want me to start with the Manchester United preview ahead of Tottenham and the team news? Because I was going to start with the team news and talk about Man United versus Tottenham and do a preview, but then this Gyokeres story just dropped. So let me know in the chat, Gyokeres or team news. I'm just going to grab my drink. I'll be 30 seconds. Okay, it looks like you guys want me to start with the Gyokeres news and the Gyokeres story. So we'll skip a few slides and we'll go back and we'll go into the Gyokeres. We've got about 4 people say Gyokeres right away here. So we'll talk about the final more tomorrow as well. But we want to talk about Victor Gyokeres because Arsenal have always been seen as the favourites for Victor Gyokeres. They've always been seen as the favourites. But Manchester United have made more moves than Arsenal as of now. Arsenal are the favourites. Arsenal have European football. Arsenal are a better team than us. But Gyokeres has the relationship with Amorim. Manchester United are ready to accelerate their attempts to sign him. So, what's been said? Manchester United will now accelerate a move to sign Victor Gyokeres. After completing a deal to sign Matheus Cunha, United are the first European club to make a concrete move. For me, this is big news. For me, this is important news. Manchester United are looking to advance a deal for Victor Gyokeres. That doesn't mean that Victor Gyokeres has agreed to join Manchester United. He hasn't agreed terms. He hasn't said, I want to come to Manchester United. But Man United wouldn't be making a move for Victor Gyokeres if they didn't feel he would come. Manchester United feel it's possible they can convince Victor Gyokeres to come. He's got a good relationship with Ruben Amorim. Now, without European football, if we lose the Europa League, I think our chances are very slim. But I think if we win the Europa League, I think United have some confidence because of his relationship with Amorim. They could make the move. They've already got Cunha done. They could say, look, Cunha's already in. You're going to be playing with Cunha. You're going to be playing with Amad. You're going to be playing with Bruno. You're going to be playing with Casemiro. Like, you know what Amorim did at Sporting. This is a big project. But this has come from a credible source of information that United are the first European club to make a concrete move. And Romano is still talking about Sesko to Arsenal, who are, Romano has basically said Manchester United and Arsenal are 2 clubs most advanced for Gyokeres. But Romano's also talking about Sesko to Arsenal. Now, we're also being linked to Delap, so that might not mean much. Sesko could be back up to Gyokeres. But United are now accelerating, advancing a move to try and sign Victor Gyokeres. They've got Matheus Cunha done, pending some final details with Wolves, but United feel that they've got Cunha in the bag. They're now looking at Victor Gyokeres, now looking at making the move for Victor Gyokeres. And the fact that behind the scenes, we are the first club to have taken steps towards that deal, we've done more than any other club, is encouraging to me. Does Victor Gyokeres have limitations? Yes. But Victor Gyokeres, we know, will leave Sporting, it's confirmed, and he will be £54 million. Manchester United have seen Victor Gyokeres for £54 million, and they are advancing on that deal. They are making their move. Doesn't mean he will come, but it's ambitious that that we were told by reliable sources we want 2 signings before the window opens. We don't need to sell to get 2 signings in. They will be a 10 and they will be a striker. They are the biggest issue. And the one thing, and I've had a lot of question marks over Ineos, and I've criticised Ineos for a lot of things. I'm not fully convinced. But what I am happy about is how many times have we known going into a window 2 positions Man United must get? We've known going into so many windows we need this position and that position, and we'll be sat here in August and we'll be thinking, why haven't United moved for a DM in the past? I remember under Ollie, we all knew we needed a DM, and we'd be sitting here in August like, why aren't we even being linked to DMs? Well, we would make our first signing in July. What I like is we could go into June with Cunha done in the bag and with Manchester United looking to get Gyokeres done, or maybe done in June. If we win the Europa League, it could be done. So imagine going into June, the window's just opened and you've already got your 2 priority signings in that are 2 top class players. That's what I want to see from Manchester United. That's what I'd love to see. I'd love to see Manchester United making moves. We'll talk about Turkey, we'll talk about Mbeumo, and we'll talk about Eze later. But let's continue into some more Gyokeres news. Also, my throat's really dry because I just had some crisps, so bear with me. He also added, once the Europa League final is over, United will accelerate talks with Sporting. Victor Gyokeres is priority target for the club, United not backing off and still pushing to sign him. Laurie Whitwell said that Gyokeres is on our list, another very credible source. Romana said that Gyokeres is liked. We know that Ruben Amorim is really pushing for Manchester United to sign Victor Gyokeres. We know that. He likes the player. I don't think Manchester United would be accelerating talks, would be making a move if they didn't feel like they couldn't convince the player. That doesn't mean he's going to come. He might get convinced to go elsewhere. But United must have got some indication back from Gyokeres that, like, you win the Europa League, you're in the Champions League, I'll come. United must have had some indication. He's got the relationship with Amorim. United know that he's got a 50 to 54 million release clause. United are going to look at that and they're going to see 50 to 54 million release clause, top striker, 100 goals in 2 seasons, played under Ruben Amorim. And of course, United have got to be over that. The focus was still at, but when Ruben Amorim is pushing for Gyokeres, they're going to look at that and think, okay, we know that United are not backing off. We know United are pushing to sign him. We've given Delap tours around. We like Delap. Maybe we go for Gyokeres and Delap and we look to move on Rasmus Hojlund. Maybe that's what we try and do. Who knows? I think that would be quite smart. But United are not backing off. United are not backing off. We know Gyokeres is on the move. I've said it 100 times. Gyokeres is on the move this summer. He's on the move for 50 to 54 million pounds. There's going to be top clubs in for him. And it's being reported that United are now, doing the most. We're doing the most advanced things, which is interesting. So let's talk about it. We're going to talk about the Europa League game in a second. Many strikers will have also seen by now that Arteta does not like to play with a number 9, so they'll be ruined if they move to Arsenal. I wouldn't be shocked if Arsenal went for Mbeumo and played as a 9. I don't think they'd be ruined if they went to Arsenal, because look how many goals Kai Havertz got as a 9. Look how many goals Mourinho got as a 9. I think he'd be fantastic at Arsenal. But, is Arsenal looking for a 9, or are they looking for someone like an Mbeumo to play 9 that can drop deep? It'll be interesting. So, Romana has obviously confirmed that Victor Gyokeres is on the move this summer. He will leave Sporting for 50 to 55 million package deal. Keep an eye on this one in the next days and week. Manchester United and Arsenal strongly interested. So Romano again said 2 days ago, Victor Gyokeres is on the move. He will leave Sporting for 50 to 55 million. Premier League is the one to watch. Keep an eye on the next days and weeks. And this was said 2 days ago. Man United and Arsenal strongly interested. Now, another reliable source is saying that Manchester United are accelerating talks. United, essentially the most advanced. United are not letting Gyokeres go. They're working on it. They're focused on it. As I'm going to say 100 times, this doesn't mean we're going to get Gyokeres. This doesn't mean that Gyokeres wants to come to Manchester United. But what we are being told is Manchester United want Gyokeres, and they're willing to act quick to get Gyokeres, which is news that is encouraging. It's something we've always wanted Manchester United to do. Go for Cunha, go for Gyokeres, get those two deals done in June, and we cannot complain one bit. But a lot of it could depend on the Europa League. The Telegraph reported today, so not the Telegraph, the Mail reported today that United could pretty much hit a £100 million jackpot by beating Tottenham. The money we'll get from being in the Champions League next season is essentially nearly 100 million, because you've got to look at the 85 million pounds we get just from being in the Champions League. On top of, if we don't get Champions League football, our sponsorship from Adidas goes down by a lot. So we get that extra 15, 20 million from sponsors through being in the Champions League and 85 million through being in it. Man United are going to have £100 million more just by being in the Champions League. 100 million more just by being in the Champions League next season to spend. Obviously, the players' wages go up 25%, so that's another 20 million down. But we're looking at having about £85 million more to spend this summer just from being in the Champions League, which also gives us the funds to get Cunha, get Gyokeres, get it done early in June. The problem is we could lose tomorrow. That is the problem. I think Tottenham could do it. I'm not confident. Something tells me it's the year of underdogs. And not that Tottenham are really underdogs, but they are when it comes to winning a trophy. Something tells me Tottenham could do it. And that's what worries me. Am I super bothered about winning the Europa League? Yes, for financial reasons. Because 100 million is a lifeline. 100 million could be the difference between Ammer and summer. 100 million could be the difference if Ammer is here next year. I am not bothered if Man United are playing Champions League football or not next season, because I don't think we'll do anything in the Champions League next season, and I'd like us to focus on our league form next season because we need to improve that. But I want us to win the Europa League because one, it's a trophy, but two, because it's a lifeline. We need that £100 million for Amarin's rebuild. If we don't, we could be set back another year or two. So Tottenham need it because they desperately need a trophy. Tottenham need that trophy. We want a trophy, but we don't need a trophy like Tottenham. You know, we're Manchester United. We should be winning Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues, but Europa League's always a good trophy to have. We don't need it because we're desperate for a trophy. We need it for our future. Tottenham are desperate for that trophy. One thing I will say is the players know they're going to make 25% more next year if they win. So the players, I think, will show up tomorrow. But it's really important. It is like a lifeline for us, if I'm going to be honest. Alice, relax, we're going to win it. I hope you're right, but I think Tottenham are going to win it. Something tells me that I'm worried. Something tells me with Van der Ven and Romero back, they're going to do the job. So I'm not, because we're crap against Premier League opposition. Something tells me they're going to do the job. But then I also think we've got Bruno, we've got Casemiro. If they have no Madison, Bergvall or Kulusevski, when we've got the better midfield by a long way. But it's just their defence. I think Rasmus. If Rasmus has a good game and Onana has a good game, we win. If Onana and Rasmus have a good game, we win. But I don't trust Onana and I don't trust Rasmus to not go missing. But if Onana and Rasmus have a good game, we win. We need confidence. We do. We don't have a lot of that. But we beat Athletic Bilbao 7-1 on aggregate. And Spurs fans was telling Athletic Bilbao fans they were robbed. I'm not even lying. Let's have a chat. Tottenham fans have been telling Athletic Club fans in Bilbao that they were robbed of making the final after losing 7-1. They lost by 6 goals. 6 goals. Yes, they had to play 10 men, but we only scored 2 of those 7 goals versus 10 men. So if you take away the goals we scored versus 10 men, it would be 5-1 on aggregate, which is still 4 goals difference. They scored 1 goal that was outside of the box that was lucky. We scored 4. We beat them 4-1 at home against 11 men. We beat them 3-0 away against 10 men. But we were already 1-0 up when they went down to 10 men. And it would have been a penalty and Bruno would have scored the penalty. So even if the player didn't get sent off, we would have been 2-0 up. So even if the Athletic Bilbao player didn't get sent off, we'd still be 2-0 up. Maybe they get back in the second leg. Maybe we bottle it. And maybe we go to Old Trafford with 2-2 and it's different. But technically, we only got 1 pitch on the goal versus 10 men. And it was a red card offence. So I don't get this Athletic Bilbao were robbed. If it was a dodgy penalty, a dodgy red card, and there was 1 goal between it and it was 7-6, you could feel sorry for Athletic Bilbao. But when the aggregate score is 6 different, how can you say you were robbed? How can you say you were robbed? Big up Natty says, big up Alice, content is balanced. Keep up the good work. Appreciate that. Thank you. Bruno to score 2, hopefully. Bruno Ahmad to score. Anyone to score. Vicario to make a mistake. Van der Ven own goal. Any ball that goes in the back of Tottenham's net is a good goal. There's a goal I'm going to celebrate as well. Someone said multiple Portuguese news outlets and reports have said the Gyokeres to Arsenal's close and done. Yeah, I'm going to say this now. The sources I'm reporting are good sources. The sources you're talking about are not good sources. I still think Gyokeres will go to Arsenal. But there's news coming out from gutter tier 4 sources that are making up lies that Gyokeres to Arsenal was agreed. There's no agreement with Gyokeres in Arsenal. There's no personal terms agreed. That is not true. It was fake news. Right now, reliable sources saying Manchester United have done the most work to advance the deal and accelerate the deal. That doesn't mean he's coming to Man United. I still think he will go to Arsenal. But I'm just going to tell you now, the report saying that Gyokeres to Arsenal was done is very unreliable, whereas these reports are reliable. I will always tell you when I report something if I trust the source or not. I say, this is an all right source, this is a take with a pinch of salt source, this is a gutter tier source, this is a good source. You know, I always tell you that. Gyokeres to Arsenal to tell them he's signing. Gyokeres will go to Arsenal to tell me he's signing for United. That would be jokes. Bruno's the best midfielder in the world right now. I mean, if we get a Bruno Fernandes masterclass, then. Someone saying Man United will. Anyway, let's continue into the news. So, I want to get back to talking about the Europa League final. So, Matthijs de Ligt and Alessandro Martinez are the only senior Man United players not in the 26-man squad. Chido is not eligible, but Dermot Mee, Harry Amas and Tyler Fredrickson are all in the squad for the Europa League final, said Simon Stone. So this is Manchester United's official squad for Bilbao, people. Our official squad ahead of the game. So let's dive into this. So, Bayindir, Heaton, Mee, and Nana are the goalkeepers. Amas, Dorgu, Delo, Evans, Fredrickson, Heaven, Lindelof, Maguire, Mazraoui, Shaw, Yoro are the defenders. Casemiro, Collier, Eriksson, Bruno, Maino, Mount, Ugarte, the midfielders, and Amo, Ganacho, Hojlund, and Xerxes, the attackers. And now someone said in the comments, it's funny how all these players are fit all of a sudden when we've got a final to play, which it is a little bit, but we know that Delo, Yoro, and Xerxes have had injuries and they're doing what they can to be back for the final. Good to see Xerxes in training. You know, even Evans, Evans is a back. You know, oh, interesting. Off topic. Sekou Konan is expected to go on loan next season with Lassan, the front runner. That'll be interesting because obviously they have their links to Ineos, so that's interesting news there. Alice, once if it goes to Onana penalties and Onana takes one, I tell you this now. I'm not worried about Onana taking a penalty like I was David Hair taking a penalty. I feel like Onana is better with his feet than his hands. Like, I think, like, Onana, when you look at all the problems we've had with Onana, it's been his hands, not his feet. So, Onana taking the penalty doesn't worry me. Onana saving the penalties worries me because I think Bayindir is probably better at saving penalties than Onana. But Onana would be better at taking them. All I'm saying is I cannot handle another penalty shootout. Unless we're like 2-0 behind to Spurs and we make it 2-2 and we take it to extra time of penalties that way, I don't want to be doing a penalty shootout, especially if we're in a winning position. If you're in a losing position, you take a penalty shootout. You get there. But I do not want a penalty shootout. So that is the squad ahead of tomorrow. Diogo Dalot, Lenny Yoro, Xerxes have been described as fully fit, which suggests they're ready to start in the final. Yeah. But this is what I've added. I doubt Xerxes is ready to start, having just returned to training. See him coming off the bench, but would love him to start. Xerxes has been out for 6 weeks. Xerxes is definitely the least fit out of the players coming back. And we've seen with Xerxes in his Man United career, how the minute he got fully fit, he was a different level of player. Do I want Xerxes to start over Hojlund? Yes. Do I think it's smart to start Xerxes over Hojlund? Only if you believe he's fully fit. Xerxes in the first 30 minutes against the Tottenham press would do a lot better than Hojlund. But Xerxes is only going to have... If he can play, I don't think he could play more than 45 minutes. Hojlund worries me, but I think we'll start with Hojlund. I think we'll bring Xerxes off the bench. I think we'll start with Hojlund, or he might try Bruno or Maino up top. Because that Hojlund performance versus Chelsea was atrocious. Thing is, Hojlund's been good in the Europa League. Hojlund's been atrocious in the Premier League. But this is Premier League opposition. And he has scored against Tottenham in the past, Hojlund. But there is that worry there. Like, I wouldn't start Hojlund. I would drop Hojlund and I would start Yoro. And I'm going to reveal my lineup in a second. We're going to talk about it. I would play Maino at striker if Xerxes not fit. Gyokeres speaks frequently about Manchester United per someone close to Coventry. That's interesting news because that's coming from an Arsenal source there. I'll keep an eye on that. But let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the lineups. But I want to talk about what Sully said here. Big ups to Sully. He said De Ligt worked so hard to try and get back, but United did not want to risk his injury getting worse. His injury isn't too serious, but he'll be back for pre-season or should be back for pre-season. So De Ligt couldn't make it. Martinez is obviously out injured with that horrible injury. His season is over. But Yoro backs a big boost, Dalot backs a big boost. I believe that Yoro and Dalot are definitely in a position where they can start. I don't think Xerxes in a position where he can start, but who knows? There's a lot of reports coming out from the Mail about our debt and why we need to win this Europa League, this and that. But I'll save that for another day. I want to talk about the Europa League final. I want to talk about like the lineup and stuff because I have to end this live at 5:30. So let's dive into it. So I want you guys to get involved and tell me your lineup down below. Tell me down below, what is your starting lineup ahead of the Europa League final? Bentancur's better than Man United's whole midfield. I actually like Bentancur, but he's not been better than Casemiro. He's not been better than Bruno. He's probably better than Ugarte. Burvoy's your best midfielder this season, followed by Maddison and Kulu, and they're out. Remove Ugarte, get Wharton. I like Wharton, but now Palace have got Europa League football. I doubt it. I was going to talk about a few other things in today's show, but I'm not sure I'll get time. But just to let you know, United are confident they're going to complete the Cunha deal soon. They're looking at both Eze and Mbeumo, was said by ESPN. Delap will have conversations with Newcastle this week. He's already spoken to United and Chelsea, according to Alex Crook. Edu Burgess and Alex Crook also said there's an interest in Emi Martinez, but it could depend on Onana leaving. Rob Dawson said that United do have interest in Adam Wharton, but Crystal Palace's Europa League qualification will make it more difficult. And Rich Fay said that United could receive 16 to 20 million if Real Madrid pay Alvaro Fernandez's 42 million release clause, because we have 50% of his future sale in terms of other news. But I want to talk, of course, about the lineup. So, in goal, it's Onana. Now, I saw one person put Baindir in their lineup, but Baindir's crap. Onana has been our biggest liability in the Europa League. I watched back our Europa League highlights, and Onana was the biggest problem, but he's going to play in goal. Right. Yoro for me is right centre-back. Yoro for me is 100% right centre-back. Maguire is central centre-back. And I'm going to put Shaw. I was tempted to put Yoro left centre-back, Mazraoui right centre-back, but just because of Dalot being out a little bit longer, I think I'm going to go with Mazraoui, and then we can always put Dalot on. Like, let's say Yoro can't play more than 45 minutes, you can put Dalot on, and then you can move Mazraoui to right centre-back. So I'm going to, as much as I like Dalot, and I think he's improved, I think I will go with that. And if Yoro has any issues, we can move Mazraoui to centre-back, or if Shaw has any issues, we can move Mazraoui to centre-back. Now, I'm worried about Tottenham's midfield overrunning us. And that was the issue in the game under Erik ten Hag, but I'm going to still play Bruno deeper with Casemiro. I think Ugarte's legs would be beneficial. There's no doubt in my mind Ugarte's legs have been important in these big games, and there's the fear there. But I think that Bruno plays better deeper. I think there's more attacking quality when Bruno's deeper. Ahmad is the right 10. I'm going to play Mount over Garnacho. And the reason I'm going to play Mount over Garnacho is I think Garnacho off the bench against tired legs will be really good. I think Garnacho could have more impact off the bench than Mount. What's happened here? I don't know what's happened with my screen there. But I think Garnacho with 30 minutes to go could be lethal. And then up top, I'm going to be honest, I would play Maino. I'm just thinking about the Spurs press and hold up, and how many times Hojlund has got the ball, can't hold it up, loses the ball, and we almost can. And it's not Hojlund's fault, we can see, but he'll lose the ball, and then the other team have a chance. So this would be my lineup, and then I would be looking with half an hour to go. Get Xerxes on. Do we need a little bit of Garnacho for pace? You know, if we're winning, maybe we get Ugarte on and add another body in midfield. Bruno can move further up. But that's what I would look to do. If Xerxes was 100% fit, I'd play this, because I think that Garnacho would link better with Xerxes than Mount. If Xerxes was 100% fit, this would be my lineup. But I don't think Xerxes will be ready to start. But I would drop Hojlund and I would start Yoro. That's what I would do. A fit Mount is dangerous. I think Mount fully fit is definitely a good player, and we saw that. Alice, we need to start Hojlund because if he's benched, that will knock his confidence. Hojlund's a confidence player, so there's no point bringing him after benching him. But isn't it sad that you spend 72 million on a player and you know you can't rely on them off the bench? Like, look, Ten Hag benched Hojlund in the FA Cup final when he held up the ball quite well when it came on. Ten Hag benched Hojlund in the last couple of games of last season and played Bruno Fernandes false 9, and Hojlund came off the bench in the last 2 Premier League games and scored good goals. So I don't know about that, but I know what you mean. He's a confidence player, but it's like we can't start Hojlund because we think he'll be rubbish if he comes off the bench. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like we can't have that way. Alice, will you stop supporting United if we lose? Look, well, United could be in League Two, and I'm still going to support Man United. So no, I'm not going to stop supporting us because we lose. Because for me, football's like like I feel like a football team is like a child. It's like a family member. You don't decide. Let's say you have a child and your child's ugly. You don't go, yeah, they're not my child anymore. I want someone else's child. Like, do you know what I mean? You don't do that. So it's like, yeah, I support Man United. We might be shit, but like, this is Man United. I love Man United. Unfortunately, they cause me more pain than joy, but I do love Manchester United. So that's my sort of stance, in the sense of I would never not be a Man United fan, even if things are painful, even if things aren't good. I mean, a lot of people saying, why Shaw? If I knew Yoro and Dello were 100% fit, then it would be Mazraoui, Maguire, Yoro as the centre-back three, with Dello and Dorgu out wide. But I thought Luke Shaw had been good the last 2 games. I thought Luke Shaw was horrific in the Lyon game. I thought Luke Shaw's first 2 games back from injury was horrific, but I think he's got a lot better. There is a rumour that Diaz is going to go to Barcelona, but I don't know how credible it is. Or Barcelona are interested in Diaz, which is a interesting one. I think Barcelona should go for Rashford, and Rashford is looking for Barcelona. But the update on Victor Gyokeres is apparently he talks about Man United a lot, according to people close to Coventry, which is interesting news there. Anyway, people, I'm going to wrap up today's live show. I just wanted to keep it short and sweet. Big up to everybody tuning into today's show. I'm just going to see if anybody's live that we can redirect to. If anybody else is having a live show we could redirect to. No one that I subscribe to is live, apart from TNT, but that would be weird. No content creators is live. Anyway, so we're going to wrap up the show here. Thank you everyone for watching. I didn't go through all the news stories, but I can cover that when I'm live tomorrow. There might be a video out tonight. If any big news drops, there'll be a video out tonight. If not, I'm going to be live tomorrow with a big preview. Thank you for watching. Bye.